only one's shooting the video of him, but everybody's recording it. And so he asked me a question distinctly. I'll look at you.
Yeah.
So look at, he's shifting. He better go to.
But that's not fair. Well, thank you for having me here.
Good to meet you. Yeah.
Mayor Jones, or how do you want to be addressed?
I'm Jerry. Jerry on there, John. I'll answer about anything.
Well,
Yeah.
like I told Lee, I'm just a curious guy, and it's curious to me that you've been mayor for over, it's just like 26 years, right?
Yeah, 26 years, correct.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the longest a mayor has ever been mayor in Morehead City.
It has. Mayor Bud Dixon was the longest running mayor for 23 years, and he got sick and had to step down.
Okay, so 23, after 23 is when you sort of took the lead.
Yes.
Wow. Well, so I was looking back and thinking back, because you became mayor like at 99, something like that.
99 when I was
99.
elected.
And before that, you were you were on the city board or
City council.
City council, yeah.
For 4 years prior to that.
4 years.
Yeah.
What got you involved in politics? Because you're a construction guy, right? Originally, you started out in construction.
Yeah, being a business owner, employer, construction.
Yeah.
I was active in a lot of community organizations like the Chamber of Commerce. I was on the College Foundation Board, Seafood Festival chairman, and I contributed all around the town. I gave back to the town that was given back to me.
Yeah.
And I really didn't think a whole lot about it until one day somebody said, "You'd make a great mayor."
Who said that, and why did they say that?
Really don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
But it was just in conversation one day. And then I never really thought about that because at the time, you have to know my background. I mean, I didn't grow up in a family that had ambitions to hold a public office like this. And in fact, when I was growing up, looking at the mayor, it might as well be the president of the United States. It was a unobtainable goal for me to even think about that.
Yeah.
And so when they mentioned that to me, I got thinking about it. And I said, think about elections. You'll hear a lot of people say, they make it about them, but in elections, it's about the citizens, about the people of Morehead City. It's their choice if I elected mayor or not mine.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'll give it a try, and
You'll put yourself out there and just
put it out, and we'll see what
roll the dice. Yeah.
I rolled the dice, and
Yeah.
and to this day, that's still my philosophy and recognition that it's not me that puts me in this position. It's the people of Morehead City that put me in this position, and I respect that.
I like that. But do you have like a different persona that you have to use? Because that's a different approach, isn't it, than when you're doing construction? I mean, or do you use the same sort of approach in both areas?
The same. I'm in the construction industry, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I also I'm a project manager.
Yeah.
I'm a finance director.
Yeah.
I'm an employer.
Yeah.
And like I told my father one time, my father was, and when I first started out in business, it was just me and a business partner. And, we would hang doors and fix windows and stuff like that. And I've grown from then. And I come to realize that, that although I'll always be a construction worker first, I'm blue collar.
Yeah.
That I'm really a businessman.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not right for me to say construction worker. That is, people have pejorative views of that. You had a business. You start out with a business, and that's what sort of amazes me. You're early 40s when you started getting into politics. How did you have enough time to do? Did you have enough time for family?
I had a long heart-to-heart with my wife.
Yeah.
And she and I was getting excited, and I remember her to tell me to remain humble. And I've never forgotten that. And every once in a while, she'll remind me of that again when I get a little excited. You got to be mayor, you need to be kind. You got to listen to everybody. You have to have a kind heart. I learned a long time ago when people come to me as mayor, they might sound like they're fussing, but what they're looking for is help.
Yeah.
And evidently they've done their due diligence. They got past, forgive me, all my lines of defenses, and they don't know where to go.
Right.
And which I tell people all the time. I said, look, I will help you the best I can, as long as it's not illegal, immoral, or fattening. We're going to make this happen.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, just say they just a small item. Their water bill is excessive. And I said, well, have you talked to the water department? Well, no. I said, I'll tell you what, go down, I'll give you a name. I said, I want you to go down and talk to this person. And then if they can't solve your problem, your concern, you come back to me.
Okay.
And so I'm here to help people.
Yeah.
I want to do the best I can.
Is that what got you into it originally? Wanting to be mayor, like moving from the city council to be mayor? What was it that, somebody said you'd be good as mayor, but what made you say, I'm going to do it, other than just sort of wanting to help people? What kept you going? I guess that's a real question. Like, what kept you going for 26 years?
You're actually bringing up 30 years of memory, so we're going to walk this trail together.
Okay, yeah.
I was council member for 4 years, and during that 4 years, we had a mayor, Bill Horton, William C. Horton, that was retiring. He made it public that he was retiring.
Okay.
And there was another well-respected statesman, Mayor Darrell Garner, out of Newport. And they both tagged me. They thought that I would be a good fit for Morehead City and for Carteret County. So they took me under their wings and kind of, I would say, groomed me for this position. So that's how it got started. And now when I got elected official, I still, as a council member, I still wasn't thinking mayor.
Yeah.
That's the baby steps.
Yeah.
But from my background, where I grew up at, I was very proud of where I was at.
Yeah.
But anyway, I knew the mayor was retiring, and the mayor said that he would support me and help me.
So you had a few mentors that were really supporting you.
Yeah, very much. Nobody stands alone. Nobody stands alone. You got to have people to help you along the way.
Yeah. And then what kept you going? Once you got in as mayor, I'm sure there were things that made you think, I don't need to do this.
Well, you hit the key word just a few moments ago. I like helping people. I will do whatever I can to help you, other than that illegal, immoral, or fattening. Yeah. No, I do. I like helping people. It makes me feel good. I thank God that I'm able to do that. I feel like I'm I was told, and then you grow into it. A good image for Morehead City. People are comfortable with me, and I've just grown from there. And I kind of expand. I still like helping people. That's my number one priority. But it's like when I was talking to the Morehead primary students this last week. The number one, our number one focus, our number one goal in community service and public service and in mayor's office is to keep people safe. Everything we do is about the public health, safety, and welfare. Everything that we do, and I even as I give an example of them, when you see a house on fire in your neighborhood, you call 911. Who responds? They'll say the fire department. That's the fire department's here to keep you safe. Same thing with the police department. See a bad person, who comes? The police department. And then I'll go right on down the list about safe drinking water, safe. We have parks to help keep us healthy. We have safe roads to travel on. And then I ask them, I said, now how do we pay for all this? We got people don't just volunteer like the mayor. We have a lot of staff, and somebody in the audience will say taxes.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell them yes, and we have a finance department and people there to keep your parents' investments safe.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. Everything we do is about the health, safety, and welfare.
Interesting.
On my first campaign trail, I remember, and grew really close to a lot of people. But I remember going to one fella, and this is right when Mitchell Village was gotten forcibly annexed. And now we call it city initiated, which you can't do that anymore. Cities cannot annex anything anymore, but other than voluntary annexation.
That's what's going on with Brandywine.
Yeah. It can't be done. It can't be done. Unless one, and that, that's just my opinion, but it's hard to get 100% of people to do anything.
Yeah. So you would have to have 100% of Brandywine say, we want to be annexed.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's all give and take. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them would love to get on, especially after this last weekend, get on city water.
Yeah. In fact, I talked to a gentleman just yesterday that would like to come into Morehead City. He said, I was in Mitchell Village when they annexed it, and it was the best thing that ever happened to us. He said we were having issues out there, and city come in and fixed it. But that's different opinions of different people.
I do remember when Mitchell Village got annexed, there it was a sort of thing where it felt wrong, but it ended up being right.
Oh yeah.
There was resistance, but everybody enjoys it.
But this fellow I went to, I asked for his support, and he said, "Well, Jerry," and we knew each other. He's again another generation. I was younger back then. But anyway, I said, Mr. Cotty would like to have your support. He said, "Well, Jerry," he said, I've already pledged my support to John and Paul." I said, "Well, Mr. Cotty," I said, "I've actually pledged my support to John and Paul too." I said, "But there's a third seat. So if you would just please consider me for that one."
So that was a big turnover.
Yeah.
There was 3 seats that were being.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. How often does that happen with there's a big turnover like that? Has there ever been everybody leaves? All 5?
Well, that was actually a turnover because there's 3 city council members that run for re-election that didn't get elected.
Really?
Yeah. So it was definitely a turnover.
Were people angry, or what was what?
Yeah, they were angry about the annexation of Mitchell Village.
That was the thing.
That was the thing. Yeah.
And John lived in Mitchell Village.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And which once John got on board, his eyes were open, so things started being okay. And he had to go back and tell everybody at Mitchell Village things were going to be okay.
Man.
Yeah.
What do you think people hoped that he would get in there and reverse the annexation?
Yeah. That's what people are hoping.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And although it cost the former board the election, I'm sure that was a large part of it. They had a vision, and sometimes you have to pay for that vision.
Yeah. It's interesting. Hometown politics is something that it's not on everybody's radar, until something comes up. It was taxes. And I know it's the county taxes, or the valuation of my parents' house in Mitchell Village, that went way up and got me mad, really. Like, who do I need to talk to? Like you said, it comes down to people wanting help. Who do I go to talk to about this? Anger, is what gets people usually awake to look at, like,
it awakens you. Yeah, I'll go along with that one.
Yeah. And so, but how did you deal when the evaluations went way up? Was that a problem for the office here, for the government here? Or, because I'm sure a lot of people came knocking at your door, even though, I don't know, really.
It's a concern.
Yeah.
The sole purpose of a municipality is to provide a higher level of service than its rural counterparts. That's why people choose to move inside corporate limits. They want that 4-minute response time from the fire department. They want that ambulance to show up in a reasonable amount of time. The police department, or they want to turn on the water during a storm, and they have water in their house.
Yeah.
And they can flush their toilets. And so people are willing to pay more money for those services. And they're kind of like user fees. But you have to be really, really cautious. It's a balance. It is always a balance, because, government can get top heavy just like any organization. And in my business, I could create a budget, and I've learned this in the early days. I thought I was this master budgeteer, a business owner, and going to make all this money and pay all these people and give all these benefits to everybody. But it's all about it's all about debits and credits, and you've got to make enough money to pay your bills.
Mm.
If you're not, and you can't increase your expenses just because you have more bills.
Yeah.
You also have to look at, well, where am I overspending at?
Yeah.
You know, why have I got all this overhead?
Yeah.
And so the same thing in the mayor's office.
Yeah.
The mayor's office is more of the executive branch of the leadership.
Okay.
The council is the legislative branch.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of crossover, but that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Then you got your staff, and but I understand where you're coming from. I'm with you. One thing, being a business owner and a homeowner and property owner, I have investments. I have a vested interest in Morehead City. When taxes go up, I feel it just like everybody else,
Yeah.
just like it. So it's hard on me.
Mm.
But I also want to provide the services that people expect to be provided.
Now that's been brought up before is the idea of the quick response time for the police and the fire department. And it struck me as I thought about that has more to do with personnel, doesn't it? It has more like throwing money at things can help sometimes, but a lot of it has to do with management, right?
A lot of it has to do with planning and management and personnel and equipment.
Yeah.
Fire department, we'll talk about that. I spent 21 years in the fire department.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, retired volunteer fireman from Morehead City, or lieutenant.
Okay.
It's an insurance rating, and every fire department has a rating, and the lower the rating, it also lowers your insurance rates for your homeowners fire insurance and other insurances there. But their guidelines are that the fire response time can't be more than 4 minutes from any fire station.
Okay.
So it's about how the response time is a guideline from the insurance organization of how long it takes you to get from the firehouse to where it's at,
Okay.
where the structure fire or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But that's how that's graded.
And how when you were in the fire department, what did you see that really helped you as mayor when you got to be mayor to kind of say, like, we need to change this, we need to change that?
Well, I look back at my service in the fire department. Evidently, I liked helping people back then too. It's things that you do throughout life that you don't really realize who you are
Yeah.
until that light switch comes on one day.
Mhm.
And me, I've always I tend to put people first.
Mm.
You know, I'm walking behind you, I'm beside you. You won't ever catch me walking in front of you. I'm protecting if I have to,
Mhm.
but not as a rule. When I got to the fire department, and I took it very seriously,
Mm.
and I actually I achieved the rank of firefighter 3, which is the highest certification you can get in the nation.
Wow.
It took me about 5 years to get there, and now then it goes at firefighter 2, and it's a whole lot easier now with the colleges, community colleges, the internet, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also recognize back then that the times change, people change, and sometimes, and you have to keep up with those changes.
Yeah.
We're kind of witnessing that right now too.
Mhm.
But I recognized back then that we need a more professional fire department than we had.
Okay.
And we needed if we're really going to serve and protect our community, we need a more professional
Mm.
organization. I was not the only one. There was a handful of us. Got very, very, very contentious between the fire department. We got split. The county, at this time, the city council, they were city commissioners, they got split on this organization.
Hmm.
And we, not to get in a lot of details, but we kind of weeded out a lot of the people that were just there because of the social club, and ended up with the people that really thought that we should become a professional organization that is credited throughout the state of North Carolina.
Got rid of some of the bad apples.
And we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I can remember, I tell a story, his name was Naughty Boy.
What?
Naughty Boy Willis. They got, everybody's got a nickname.
Well, I think he was probably one of the bad apples. Huh?
Well, he wasn't a bad apple. He was a great guy. Well, he was old school. No, he was old school. And we had implemented a program at the time that an SOP, standard operating procedure, that could go into any fire. You had to wear SCBA, an air pack, like a scuba diver, but the SCBA is self-contained breathing apparatus.
Okay.
And it was protocol. You had to do that. Well, before then we didn't, including me. You know, I'd run in there and fight a fire and be all sitted up and get out and take cleaning fluids, bar saw, clean my nose out, sit down with everybody, smoke a cigarette, and talk about the fire.
Oh, wow.
You know, but these times are changing.
Yeah.
And I remember Naughty Boy and some of the and I like to tell a story of him. I like him a lot. He's since passed away.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. This is the older generation, my father's generation.
Yeah.
And he came up to me and he said, Jerry said, I'll tell you what, you can put that air pack on and I'll go in with you, and I'll go in without an air pack, and I'll go in just as far without that air pack as you will with that air pack. And that little young whippersnapper me come out. I probably shouldn't have said it, but I did. I said, well, the difference is, Naughty, I said, you might go in as far as me, but I'll be carrying you out.
How did he take that?
I didn't go there. And back in those days, that was disrespectful talking to your elders like that. But I was trying to give an example of how important it is to, you're going to go protect people. You need to protect yourself so you can protect those people also. But yeah, they were good times. And I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And the fire department is where it is today. And I'm proud to say I was a part of that, although there were some others a lot with me, and very professional department now. Same thing with our police department. I was never a police officer, but I had a relationship with them. And in fact, Councilman Member Abel and I, we grew up together.
Okay.
And we played together, and we got in trouble together. But yeah, but we also, and he did end up becoming. I always say that you don't choose public service chooses you. And if you're not cut out for helping the public, you'll be moving on for another job. But he retired as a major in the police department. But he and I, we would call up, and you can't do that nowadays with insurance regulation stuff. But we would literally ride around with the police officers at night.
Really?
Well, Saturday nights and whatever.
This was when you were younger, or?
Yeah, a teenager.
Yeah. Seems like a skill of yours is to, correct me if I'm wrong, to be able to look at things and say, I think I know what to do here. Let's do this and this and this. You're a man of action.
Yeah. I see the big picture. Now everybody contributes. Everybody's got a skill. I used to tell even in my business that people would, they might come in as a cleanup person, but they would, if they stuck around and learned the skills and the trades, they would move up to maybe a laborer, then a carpenter, and maybe a supervisor, whatever.
Yeah.
But if I ever caught or heard anybody talking down to somebody at a lower position than they were, I'm like, come on, guys.
Condescension was not something you tolerated.
I said, because I'm going to tell you what. I said, you run this fella off. I said, you know who's going to take his place? You are. I said, then you know what? Somebody's going to have to take your place. Then somebody's going to have to take their place. And eventually it's going to move up to me, and I'm going to have to take a place. You know what? There's nobody to take my place. So if you appreciate your job, you just keep a positive attitude and you focus on your work, and don't worry about this person that's just now entering to the construction field. But I say that because I'm very observant of people. You don't manage businesses, you manage people. And it's and they're different personalities. I always say, especially in the mayor's office or any elected office, working with the people is a moving target. We all have our opinions, how things should be done. We all have, sometimes we don't understand things. It's my job to also try to educate. When I said a few moments ago that everybody contributes, I know a lot of people, I'll go back to my construction. I can roll out a set of plans and I can tell you what that house is going to look like before I ever dig the first hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Some people can't. I've had people in my organization that can't. They can't tell you what that house is going to look like till we get the final coat of paint on it. But they can put the puzzle together, and they're good at it.
Gotcha.
You're not.
Yeah. The difference between seeing the end product and being able to be really interested in the puzzle pieces to put it
That's right,
together.
yeah. And so, as mayor, as a vision, and although in government we tend to make 5-year plans. That's why you'll see a lot of like our UDOs and our strategic plan. Well, they're 5-year. I look at 50-year plans.
Wow.
When we purchased this property from the school board in about 2006, and we had this grandiose idea, this complex here.
Yeah.
Well, remember what happened in 2008?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 2008 didn't just hurt personal pocketbooks; it hurt everybody, every organization's pocketbook. And when the market crashed,
yeah.
So we had to put this on hold a long time, but I could still see this vision. But the school board could not wait forever for us to make our mind up if we're going to buy this piece of property or not. So at the time,
why was the school board involved?
They owned this property.
Oh, I see.
You see
Okay.
a school there, Charles S. Wallace
Okay.
School. You'll see the plaque out front when you go out there. So they wanted to sell it. It was just a liability thing. It was an old building here that
was this wasn't where Morehead City High School was it?
the original
one where my dad went. Really? Okay. Dad. Now, as you talk about that, what I'm thinking about is what is the next phase? It seems like things have really changed recently as far as Morehead catching up with technology and sort of being a little bit more, I always thought like I lived in Chicago for a little while and coming back to Morehead, things were a little bit further behind, just because it's slower pace. And I think people around here like that. But social media, how's that changed Morehead government, Morehead politics?
It's changed the world.
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother when she first got her TV, and she was like, "What in the world is going to? There's all this crime and all these people are hurting people and shooting people and all over." And she's talking about something in California.
Yeah.
I said, Grandmama, I said, as you know, because Grandmama was a very religious person, I said, in the Bible, there's been violence for many, many, many years. I said, we just didn't know that. I said, now with technology, back then I called it technology.
Yeah.
Technology and the TV, you're now getting news a lot quicker than we used to.
Right. Yeah.
And fast forward to nowadays with Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
It has definitely changed the landscape of not just politics, but I think business and everything. I have a saying also, in my world, you have to move at the speed of business. If you don't, you're going to be left behind. Even at the government level, don't ponder too long or somebody else is going to be there. But
how do you see your approach changing?
Yeah, well, social media, times change. People don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always say that people are not going to change, but times do. So we have to do so with that. Right. People always want what we want.
Yeah.
Social media. Yeah. Back in the old days, if you wanted to meet somebody, you went somewhere and met with them. It's a whole lot easier for me to sit here and interact with you than if we were just talking over the phone or something like that.
Yeah.
And I can see your reaction. You can feel me. It's not just words. It's how I'm expressing those words and vice versa.
Right.
You can't experience, you can't feel that in social media.
Right.
We've heard the expression and you just got to take that with a grain of salt and let it go over your head, the keyboard warriors and stuff like that. It's just too easy to express your feelings when you don't know the person and you're not looking at them.
Yeah. I was talking to Jeff last night about how much, I guess I was taken back by how caustic people were about staying off the roads during the snowstorm. They were downright mean to people. Getting on there and say, "Hey, how long is it going to take me to get home?" I need to. Some people, nurses, needed to get to work, and people would come on there and say, "Stay off the road, stay home." It was almost like this spirit. We both thought that it was reminiscent of COVID when they were, do your duty and stay home. And it's sort of a thing that, I don't know, really bothered me.
Well, it does. People, that's when, forgive me, but that's when they make it all about themselves. I don't like it, and I'm gonna tell everybody I don't like it.
Mhm.
And they don't realize, like you just said, number one, that nurse or that doctor
Mhm.
or that uh, fireman or that plumber or whatever is out going out to help people,
Right.
and it's their judgment call.
Yeah.
These people that were concerned about it, stay off the roads if you're concerned about your safety.
Yeah.
Now, I concur with you. There's some people out there that don't make the best decisions in the world, and there comes a time that you need to stay home. That emergency. We might have two emergencies if you go out there, and it's up to you.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to use your own judgment. Maybe I'll give this just as an analogy. Maybe you got a 2-wheel drive vehicle or a 4-wheel drive vehicle.
Mhm.
And so if you know how to drive and you're responsible, you're going to be a whole lot safer in that 4-wheel drive you will be that 2-wheel drive, and you'll get where you're going. You won't be blocking the road for other people to get by.
Speaking of traffic, what my friend Jeff keeps bringing up this idea that when we're doing construction here in Morehead City, there's not enough that goes into studying how it's going to affect traffic. He's in and what do you think about that? It does seem to be like as they're doing this, they're looking at creating some I guess it's going to be some apartments or something over in Mitchell Village, off of Bryant. What goes into thinking about how that's really going to be detrimental to people's travel? More people, 500 more people coming through, in and out, wrecks that may happen, and just all around more traffic that may happen.
Oh, it's a moving target. It's always been a concern.
Mm.
Now Morris City, we can control our city roads all day long.
Yeah.
DOT controls the state roads.
Mhm.
And I'll go back to my buddy John Nelson back then. And I mean, this is how long, 30 years ago, when we were having concerns about growth, overloading and what we perceived as too many vehicles on that road. But every time DOT or an engineer would come in and they would explain to us this road is made for 20,000 cars a day, and we're only up to 5,000 cars a day. That's it's again, you have to respect that. I mean, they're the professionals. Have a roof leak, you call a roofer. If you have a broken arm, you go to a doctor. But so if you got a traffic engineer, you have to listen to them.
Yeah.
When you make your decision. I'm not saying you make it solely based on that, but you have to listen to that.
Right.
You know where Bojangles is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the time, the developer was building those 4 3-story buildings there, and it ended up being 3 because Bojangles bought a corner. And but it was quite obvious that the traffic coming into Morehead was we've been discovered. That's all I can tell you. Carter, the Crystal Coast has been discovered.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
But I brought in DOT with the developer and a couple other people, and we sat in one of those buildings. It wasn't even finished yet.
Yeah.
And so I could let them see that intersection, and they kept crunching those numbers that that the intersection does not warrant a stoplight there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you are so wrong, to myself. It's not just about a rental street. It's about how about all these people back there that can't get out on a rental street. They have to go to the hospital or somewhere. They got to go somewhere. And they kept arguing the point that, we can't get funding for it because DOT, they're all engineers.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get funding for it. And I didn't even realize I did this, but evidently I stood up and stomped my foot and leaned over.
Really?
Well, and one of the developers there later said, "You really put an exclamation point on that, didn't you?"
So did you just get up and stomp your foot, or what did you say at that point? But you came up against them.
Yeah, I challenged them. I challenged them. And God, you bring back so many memories. And we ended up getting stoplight there.
Yeah.
It was one of that.
Well, that's what I was thinking about DOT is you, like you said, you gotta respect their expertise, but a nail is always looking for a hammer,
Yeah.
and they're kind of, So how do you balance that as a mayor when you see like, yeah, I respect your expertise, but like you said, you have to, is that how you take care of things? Is you got to assert yourself in the situation? You sort of got to,
Yeah. Depending on now, there's a balance between property rights also.
mm,
You own a piece of property, and if you're not requesting a zoning change, you can build whatever you want on that piece of property, no questions asked.
mm,
Now, if you're requesting a zoning change, that might affect the traffic flow or other things in that neighborhood. Yeah, then the council can come in and we do it a lot. We negotiate.
mhm.
If we do this and this, we'll get them to, yeah, okay, if you give us this, we'll help with this and stuff. It works, but too much traffic is, in my opinion, I agree with Jeff. But a lot of times it's our perception. Um,
Hmm.
I fuss. I remember one time years ago, I went to visit a friend in Virginia Beach, and we working on his boat trailer, and we need a part, a bolt or something.
Yeah.
It took me 35 minutes to get to the hardware store and 35 minutes to get back with that bolt to fit that. I said, I will never complain about driving 5 minutes to the hardware store more than it get.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, coming from Chicago, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's all perspective. Yeah.
But I can't not talk about grandeur, right? And what that brings to mind is this dynamic between, I just see a lot of people in Moorhead, those that want to see it grow and those that are desperately fighting against it growing anymore. They want to preserve what we have here. That's what's bringing people here with this small town, sort of a port city type feel. Um, it feels like to me, or it felt like to me, that's what was going on with grandeur, is that people got angry that that the government was changing, that Moorhead City government was changing things and sort of changing it without asking to change it. That was my impression.
Yeah. Uh, I talked about times changing, but timing is everything. Also,
Timing.
everything and
Yeah.
fast timing. And it's just like any organization, whether it be governmental, private, personal, whatever,
Mhm.
you need to get a plan together before you can present it to who you're going to try to market it to.
Mm.
I always will get the public involved before any substantial financial decisions are made.
Mhm.
But we got to get something. I can't just bring 100 people into a room and say, hey, this is an idea I got. I probably might get 100 different opinions.
Yeah.
I've done this so many times in the past. We used to do it at Depot a lot. Is we would get these renderings of something and we would put them in the depot and leave it open for a week or two and let people meander through there and say, yes, this is really a great idea. I really like this, or I don't like it, or maybe we should do this or whatever. We weren't allowed to get to that point.
Mm.
Yeah, we're getting close to it, but that's what happened here. We were some information all was released before it was time to release it.
Mm.
It was all in a public meeting. You saw on social media and you heard it was all in a closed session. It was not. If it was closed session, you never would have heard the recordings and never would have read the minutes.
Mm.
It was a public meeting.
Mhm.
Even the newspaper, they had to come back and apologize because they said, well, we didn't know anything about it. Then yes, we did. We just, it just overlooked it. But the timing wasn't right. So that's why it hadn't been released yet, but it was really, really close.
Mhm.
We had 4 surrounding property owners that thought it was a great idea. And now we got to try to negotiate with another one.
Well, there were those that felt like it was done, but behind closed doors. But I think for people like my father, and he is sort of the older generation, there was also the people who felt like, why are we trying to change, this precious area, in downtown Moorhead? Are we trying to make it more appealing to the dingbatters, to those that are coming visiting rather than those who are coming from Raleigh? And, it comes down to this, I always hear this big highway that's coming through, it's going to bring all these people.
I don't disagree with them any at all. And that's the balance in the community. You have to, somebody's got to come up with ideas.
Mhm.
And if you're not moving forward, you're falling backwards. You've got to come up with ideas, and then you got to bring the community together to see if it's that we know some of that vision probably is a good idea. Maybe not all of it, but if we bring the community together,
Yeah.
it can be a great idea.
What was the idea? What was the hope when you were thinking about it, when you heard about it? What's something that we can salvage from it?
Well, it's the idea, the vision started in the 80s.
Hmm.
He's no longer with us, but Jim Willis, which is an architect,
Hmm.
I can't give them to you right this moment, but I can locate some renderings
Yeah.
where it's pretty much similar to what we were talking about, and we didn't know it.
Hmm.
This idea has been going on forever. I gave people an example, like the waterfront itself. When Morehead City was founded in 1857, the shoreline come up to the railroad tracks.
Really?
That's all filled in.
Wow.
You know, when they at and the Sugarloaf came later when they dug out for the intercoastal waterway and the town cut there.
Mhm.
But yeah, that all that was filled in. They had the vision back then to fill that in and create a working waterfront for Morehead City. Then they came back in later and put a bulkhead in there, which was able to build the fish houses out there and the restaurants, whatever. That was vision. What if the people back then said, you don't like that?
That's true.
But you got, yeah, you got to look at, I give an example also, it's like planting a tree. You don't plant a tree for you plant it for your children,
Yeah.
for the
That-
next generation.
Yeah. That's a good analogy. Well, so what was, if you could give me like something concrete, just a place to gather there on the boardwalk, or what is it that was the hope?
And I'll back up also. When I was growing up, and which I tell everybody, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
We were known as Fisherman's Paradise here in Morehead City.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of people, my age and older that, we're no longer a working waterfront.
Yeah.
And I remind them, I say, oh, well, yes, we are, but times change. I said, we might not be the working waterfront that you and I grew up with, but that is a very much a working waterfront. If you don't believe me, go down there on a Friday or Saturday night and see all the restaurants booming and
there's still fishermen.
the fishermen.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. People don't realize what we've done to protect our water access down here. I know we bring up the fishermen and the party boats again. We'll get back on that one in a moment. But back to the grander idea. Grander meaning a 1,000-pound blue marlin.
Oh.
Grander.
So it's supposed to be grander.
Grander.
Oh, okay. Because I've heard grandeur.
It probably got blown trying to market something that
Okay.
another spin on the story, a grandeur.
Yeah.
But to make that a public plaza down there and to protect the water access from any encroachment, any business coming down, any more residential, there was going to be a modest size, small, I reckon, if you want to say that, of a meeting place where corporations, yes, could come down and have meetings there, and it's all about economic development.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to show you the plans on that.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Hmm.
And that's all stuff to change. That was the concepts, all that was, the plans.
Yeah.
But on the sports fishermen, and my relationship, and you won't hear me say my a whole lot, because when you talk about the mayor of Morehead City, I talk about the office of the mayor. Yes, I might be sitting here as mayor. They let me mayor, but this office, long after I'm gone, will continue. So it's always the office of the mayor, not Jerry Jones's office.
Right.
I had ironically, because that's how Morehead City was founded in 1857 by Governor John Motley Morehead. We had a vision to expand economic development in North Carolina from the largest city, the largest economic hub in North Carolina, Charlotte, to the coast of North Carolina, which just happened to be Morehead City. And he was the governor at the time, but also the president of the North Carolina Railroad. So he was able to sell his product and get the investors and also get the state to go along with it, where they built the railroad tracks from Charlotte to High Point, to Greensboro, to Winston-Salem, to Burlington, to Mebane, to, Raleigh, Kinston, whole points in between. So he his vision opened up commerce in North Carolina. And back then there were no vehicles. It was horse and buggy or train. My grandmother remembers when there was no roads in Morehead City other than horse, cart roads.
Yeah. And this is
Yeah.
a fur piece to to travel on a horse to get
Yeah.
way out here.
Yeah. And so, and it's like I was telling my primary students the other day, I said, now, he had a vision opening up the economy, commerce in North Carolina. I said, but you know what else he opened it up to? Opened up to the world. He built the Morehead City port. That's how big his vision was.
Yeah.
When he first raised it, it was 12 feet deep, by the way.
12 feet.
12 feet.
Wow.
Well, I had a relationship, and ironically, I say that because Morehead City is not Foundings is not a fishing community; it's a railroad community. So the railroad was here first. So you see all these houses built along the railroads and expanded backwards from there. Well, I was asked. They wanted me to serve on the North Carolina Railroad Board, but we decided as long as I'm mayor of Morehead, that would be a conflict of interest, so we cannot do that. But I had a real good relationship with them. The train depot, and there used to be another one, a baggage claim building also, used to be down here on 6th Street.
Okay.
And out of respect of Morehead City and of the railroad came to me one day, the executive director said, we just out of courtesy, want to let you know that we're going to tear down those 2 old buildings. Their useful life is gone. And I said, you're going to tear them down? I said, well, yeah. We just want to let you know, we're not asking for your vote or your blessing, because I want you to know. And I said, and like a young, because you don't know if you don't ask. I said, well, if you don't want them, can we have them? And Scott, the executive director, said, I don't know. Let me get back to you. He called me back next day, said, I called the board together, said, yeah, they would like for Morehead City to have it, and we'll give you $175,000 towards the move.
Wow.
And in fact, there's good pictures of it moving that train depot right down the middle of Rendell Street, where we set it up at. Fast forward a few years, where Catherine Davis Park is now, which has always been there since the 60s, was actually owned by the North Carolina Railroad in the state of North Carolina.
Oh.
And all those sports fishing boats that you see lined up out there leased their slips from North Carolina and the railroad. They're one and the same, but now North Carolina the North Carolina Railroad is a public entity. They have stock, but the North Carolina General Assembly owns all the stock.
Interesting.
So that works. See? Okay.
I didn't know that they were a public entity though. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I might get that wrong, but anyway, they're a corporation that have stock, and North Carolina state owns all the stock, so they have to partner together on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But there were some developers coming down, not like the Margaritaville over in Beaufort, but very similar to it, and they were looking at that. And I got very worried that if that happened, although being great economic development, and there were some other people looking at it too. I kind of got beat up I say beat up, some county commissioners didn't agree with me at the time because they were trying to encourage economic development also. That I felt like to preserve the history of Morehead City and a public space, and also to preserve our fishing heritage here, that this did not need to happen. So I again called in a favor and said, we would like for you to gift it to us, but probably not going to happen. But we would like for you to sell it to Morehead City at some terms that we could afford. And they actually, we were the pilot program for that. In fact, I don't know if any other city's ever done it with a state, but we got it. I'd have to look how much we paid for it, but very modest. And the interest was like 2% or something like that. So we were able to buy and backing up, and you'll see me ramble a lot because it brings back a lot of memories. Morehead City had been leasing that property from the railroad from state of North Carolina forever. And the parking lot down there we were leasing. So I was scared of losing parking also.
Yeah.
So they agreed to sell it. We agreed to buy it, agreed to finance it. Moore City is now the largest landowner of the waterfront down there, with the, water access and not the actual land, but water access.
Yeah.
And we were able to keep our sports fishing.
Where is that? Where is that? That part?
It's right there where the big flagpole is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine Davis Park.
Oh, Catherine Davis.
So we own that whole block except for the one corner where the restaurant is now.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And so by doing that, and also we got a like 150 by 100 foot piece of property down on 4th Street that went along with it. Got parking down on the east end also. So by doing that, we have protected Moore City's heritage for future generations. And just so proud of that move. And that's because of relationships that you can only get with time.
What has been, and what do you think should be going forward, way for people to find out about this sort of thing? Like when you do things, when the city does things like that, good things, bad things, maybe sometimes, but do you feel like there's a good communication between the government and the people, the constituents?
Things could always be better. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
If we make great decisions all the time, we'd never learn anything.
Well, how could they do better? What do you think would be, how do you think like talking about social media? Do you think there needs to be more of that or not?
I don't know what it is. We talked about this early in the podcast. Generally, if we're happy with things, the way things are going, we're just cool, calm, collect. We're not going to say anything. But the minute we feel like somebody stepped on our toes, we're going to let the world know it, and we're going to be loud about it. And that's what happens a lot of times too. There's people out there, and I'll say our former city manager, he sometimes you say things maybe. You got to be there to hear the content of the statement, not just the words.
The contact.
Yeah. You got to be there, not just the words.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But people that are unhappy with something tend to speak louder than people that are happy with it.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to be really, really careful with that. And,
right. I was thinking about it. The best city government is probably the ones that nobody even knows about, right? Never even thinks about, because everything's going fine, everything's working smoothly.
Well, yeah, this last election, and that's one reason why we're here. That's what happened. People got complacent. Why do we need change? Everything's good. So I'm happy. Well, we see what happened. This was the lowest voter turnout in city history, percentage wise.
Yeah, that's what my friend Jeff. I talked about Jeff. He's on the podcast.
Tells you people were
complacency.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that complacency with happiness? As a mayor, what do you do about that? Do you just kind of keep it low key, or is there a mandate to sort of get people involved and sort of tell people, look, we just did this. We did this. We may have done this. Sorry about this. But, is there, I guess I'm trying to figure out what is the conversation between the government and its constituents.
Well, there's the light, always a light at the end of the tunnel. And we learn by making mistakes. We didn't make mistakes. We never learn. We've never made it to the moon, probably. We got to make a mistake now and then. But there's and I use that analogy, but I'm not saying we actually made a mistake here. I'm just saying we could have been better. And we've learned that maybe there's a time limit of how long you can keep things in planning stages before the public gets there. Some of these things can take months, but you got to get your ducks in a row before you can present it to people for their opinion. Again, the generally people who don't agree something are going to speak louder than the people that agree with it. But everybody contributes. Everybody has a voice. I don't care how quiet it is. I don't care how much money you have or how many cars you've got a voice, and your voice is equal to everybody else's. I remind my council quite often that it's so easy that I call them counting heads. when people come to a meeting, they make a lot of noise because they're passionate about something that you've done that they don't like. You got to listen to them because there's a little bit of truth in every story there. And but also you don't need a knee-jerk reaction right that moment because there's thousands of other people out there that you haven't heard from. They might or might not. They might not have heard about it yet. They might be in supportive of it. But we keep falling back to the ones that have concerns are the ones that are the loudest. Right? We got to get you got to get the word out, and
it
need
seems
help with that.
it seems to be it's trying to decide whether or not the ones that are loudest are representing sort of a zeitgeist or a spirit or a feeling, a general feeling that's going through everybody else. Maybe they're the spokesman for everybody else.
Well, they could be, or
Yeah.
everybody else, but they're definitely spokesmen for some people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I won't call now. I beat up some friends, one time. We were, people want more city water and sewer and all the amenities, but sometimes they don't like where we put them at.
Yeah.
And I had one of my best friends. I mean, he right there at front and center protesting about where we were going to put a water tank. And I went up to him later. I said, look, I kind of understand. I said, but I call it not my backyard syndrome. I said, because if we were going to put that water tank 5 miles up the road, you probably wouldn't have had a concern. He said, no, I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have affected me then.
Yeah.
So we all want what we want, but sometimes at our own.
And sometimes it's like you said earlier, is be careful what you wish for.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I feel like I'm really getting to know you. Hopefully it's helpful to other people to get to know you. And I hope that's a good thing. And I guess that's what I come away with is still wondering, like, what is that balance between how much we know about our government and how much we don't really need to know about our government while they do their job.
Yeah, there's got to be a level of trust. Even when I build for people, I'm telling there's a lot of good builders around here.
Yeah.
Who you have to choose, or what you have to choose, who you want to live with for the next 6 months, 8 months of your life. That's what you got to choose. And the same thing in my opinion, when you elect people to represent you and govern, you have to trust them. And the time to probably make that decision known is probably at the next election cycle, not in the middle of it, unless you have all the information. But you've got to trust these people you put in there. And if not, we'll never get along. Just, it's I take a lot of pride in integrity and character. And I take it with a grain of salt, let it go over my head when people on social media, call me a liar. I mean, they don't know me, and I know that.
Yeah.
They're just saying that just to get a reaction, probably.
You gotta have thick skin to be mayor, huh?
Some people say you have to have thick skin. I just say I just like helping people, and people when they're crying for help, you need to listen. I use this analogy too, not in this situation, but when a baby cries, you got to listen. Now, it might not be nothing when you get there, but you've got to listen. You got to go see what that baby's crying about.
That's good.
And I will close with this. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up about the eminent domain.
Oh yeah.
There was never any intent of eminent domain. That's what happens too when you don't read and when you're not there to hear the context of the story, and you only get partial
tidbits of information.
It's information, or part of the video or part of the audio or whatever. And the counsel, our attorney, was asked a question, and he's the professional. He's paid to answer it. Okay, we it's like Mrs. Purefoy. We asked her if she wanted to sell it. That may or may not be the end of the story, but we haven't sat down and talked to her yet. But the counsel was asking the attorney, said, what other avenues do we have? Well, he said this, and this, and this. And he said, and you do have you do have the authority to eminent domain property for public use, but I don't recommend that.
Hmm.
So you don't hear that or see that. He said, and if you decide to do that, be ready for a fight, because it will be a fight.
Mhm.
Now you saw that in there, but they didn't hear what led up to that.
Is that in the audio?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He says, I don't recommend that in the audio.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually in the minutes too.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
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 And,
Interesting.
yeah. And the minutes, I mean, you can't have verbatim minutes and everything.
Yeah.
You can't say, you've got to paraphrase something, cut things short.
Yeah.
But back to Mrs. Lindia Purefoy, which I know the family, and knew her husband very well, know her son Bobby, and Olympus Dive Shop, just a staple on the Moore City waterfront. It's a worldwide presence there. We're in the top 10 dive spots in the world. I'm very proud of it. But it just got out so fast that we didn't have time to really sit down and see, what plans the family might have for that property. Because there could be plans where we can incorporate the property just like it is. Now the council had decided we're not moving on it, so nothing will happen. And it's like I told people, I can't commit future councils on anything. I can only tell you what's going to happen right now.
Yeah.
The law won't allow me to do that.
Does it disappoint you that you guys can't move forward with what? I mean, without her, it seems like there's something else you could do.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know, but I know with my building and design background, there probably is something we could circle right around it, or wagon train around it and move on. But we got 4 other property owners ready to go.
The rest of the property owners there. Now, isn't the biggest one Big Rock? They're pretty much the biggest one there, right?
Well, Moore City's the biggest one.
Morehead City, yeah.
Yeah. And then Big Rock, and then you got the Clark family, which bought that parking lot right behind the city hall.
I bet they're disappointed it didn't go through.
Yeah. Well, they were, it's all public now. They were, they wanted to be a part of it, where they were just going to get like a 99-year lease on the property.
Wow.
Just to make it happen.
Yeah.
It just got, it got leaked out too soon. And I honestly feel like, maybe I'm saying too much right now, but if it weren't for the campaign, I don't think it would have been such a big issue.
Could that be mitigated with more communication, with the constituents, like with more like live streaming and stuff like that, with more podcasts like this, where there's more communication, so that when things come out, it's not so surprising. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything's learning experience.
Yeah.
And we've hit on it with modern technology, not like my grandmother's technology, but that was the beginning of it.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't the newspaper where you reading yesterday's history.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, we've learned, I've learned. And, that's there's the people want to know.
So what's going to be different? How are you going to change the way you talk to the people?
Well, there's going to be,
I mean, this is one way, right? I mean,
oh yeah. Now, if you're just talking about you and I, yeah. Or, but I'm talking about how the city starts communicating better.
yeah.
We need to get together as a team. 2 heads are better than one. We need to talk about that. It's,
do you have any ideas
of how we get the word out better?
Yeah.
Well, again, it's timing. The vision has to start, and the vision might get shot down the first time it's presented. So you can't.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's you've got to get. And I don't know. I mean, I'll say right now, maybe it's a timeline. Maybe if you can do something in 3 months, you go ahead and you get the public to look at it and say, yeah, proceed further or stop.
Right.
I don't know yet. That's what we have to talk.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Timing. It just seems timing, like you said earlier, is a big deal.
Yeah. And I'm cautious and what I say and how I say, and sometimes I'm because I represent a lot of people. I tell people all the time. I tell my council, when you get elected, and I tell senators this too. It don't matter. When you get elected, you represent everybody. You just don't represent the people that voted for you. I've seen that too many times in partisan races where don't bother me. You didn't vote for me. You're the other party.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. Not in my world anyway. So yeah, we represent everybody and everybody, and when I speak, I represent the council, I represent you, I represent, you know, everybody. So I don't want just, I can give an opinion, but
Right.
I don't know where to go yet.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah. Moore City is not an island. We don't, back in the old days, you know, they built walls around cities and they governed within those walls. And people settled outside those walls. They were called the outskirts.
Yeah.
Because that was skirt of the city. And there's kind of like our ETJ right now. And people felt safe.
ETJ?
Yeah.
What's that?
Territorial jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, legislature allows the municipality to govern within so many miles,
Okay. Like unincorporated.
unincorporated.
Yeah, I got you.
And that keeps unincorporated areas for, like I tell people, for somebody putting a pig farm right there beside your house.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we can regulate that area. And that's why people move in ETJs close to cities. They like the city benefits. They feel safe there, but they don't have to pay the city taxes.
Yeah.
And they might not think of it like that, but that's really about the truth. But you know, but these walls that they built around the city centuries ago, evidently they didn't work, so the walls crumbled, and now everything I think about is regional. I can, even if you want to go back to the Grandeur, I can tell you, just the people of Morehead City, they cannot afford Grandeur. This is for our guests that are coming down here that are contributing to our economy, which helps us grow around here and obtain all these programs and quality of life and safety things that we have. But there's just so much to talk about.
Yeah. I guess we could talk all day. I really appreciate you taking. I mean, this has been a great time getting to know you and hearing a lot about your history. I thought it is really striking to me. 26 years and looking back, there's no social media. There's nothing online to like. I will look back and I was trying to figure out like, how did he get elected? There was nothing. I couldn't find anything. I have to talk to people, there's something nice about that.
Well, yeah. And, which, I'm definitely a one-on-one people person. Yeah, I want to look at you and when we're speaking and we can accomplish so much more. Although we've said a lot today, we have taken in a whole lot more just by the way our actions and stuff.
Yeah, it's true. Nonverbals. It's like they say, it's like 70% of communication. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mayor Jones, and I wish you good luck. May the best man win.
Well, thank you, and Jerry. But
Jerry, sorry. Yeah,
I'm Mayor Jerry.